Hey there. So it's February 26th. I'm Christy, aka Astrid Astrolabe, Savina, Skyfire. Got a bunch of fun names up there. But anyway, my legal name is Christy Lee. I'm a medical biller by trade here in the 3D and also have a pretty active spiritual life, which tends to manifest in the kind of far out there, um, like philosophy of math and quantum stuff. But today, what I was thinking about after tuning into my weekly call with the Sanctuary alumni, for those of you who may not know, the Sanctuary is a holistic healing center. It is a blessedly non Minnesota method, non 12 step uh, residential environment where I attended a 30-day holistic stay in the summer of 2017. And that was my third residential treatment, by the way, for those of you who don't know me, uh, for my alcohol use disorder, which is now in remission. But it was quite a journey. Anyway, I write about that and talk about that elsewise, but that's not what this was about. This was about the sanctuary. So this center, we meet as alumni. People, anybody who's ever been can just hang out every Saturday for an hour. And it's their sessions led by the staff and affiliated staff. And we just share and talk about stuff. And what I found over time is that, like on a day like today, there are about 20 of us, and a lot of us are regulars. I'm there every Saturday, pretty much, almost every Saturday. And what I found is that the folks that have, crashed and burned to the point where they are spending somewhere between 30 grand and up now, I hear, for a treatment, but in a place where that you love yourself enough to know that that's where you're going to go to give yourself the tools that you need to learn to make your life one that you don't want to self-sabotage anymore. So we meet every week, and I'm recognizing we're able to we each are doing so much individual journey work on our own that we're able to help each other out, even if there's not a staff member there. But I mean, I went to kind of an expensive place in Oregon that was 12 step centric anyway. But they're like, I mean, nobody took pictures of each other. And you certainly, I mean, some people I'm sure exchange numbers and stuff, but um, like at the sanctuary, we are in talking to each other every week. Some of us talk, I mean, you're encouraged to keep relationships afterwards. It's such a unique environment. Anyway, I'm going on about it because it changed my life, or it is a part of me constantly changing my life for the better. And I'm very passionate about it. And it's my spiritual alma mater. All right, I guess I'm going to go with this theme first. I was just leaving a message for a friend and realizing, hey, maybe I'll just write an article about kind of summarizing my experience and how different it has been from the other residential things that I've done. I mean, I have a unique, very close to home perception or perspective on this, having had a very active alcohol use disorder, severe, for about 17 years running, and some that was not so severe around it. But I that's a topic I know really well, and I'm a writer, so I think in fact, I know I'm going to write this article, and I'm going to somehow shop it around, and it will be made public somewhere, and somehow I just know that, so that's kind of exciting. But what I wanted to talk about on the spiritual front was maybe not a versus, but the idea or the concept of spiritual bypassing versus perception shifts. And since we're all still in the human form, we're going to do both and, right? We're going to spiritually bypass, and we're going to learn from things and have perception shifts. I don't want to, a big part of my journey is really not stepping away from judgment, if at all possible, like really getting back to that place of it just is. It just is. It doesn't need to be. I mean, a richer world for me is not, it is what it is. So fuck it. That is a way. And I have candy bars in my pantry and hot tamales. and that's the fuck it part, but it's better than alcohol, so I'm still working on that because still human. So there's that, but there's also a perception shift where I can say it is what it is, and what does that tell me? Like, getting really curious about it and being really open and playful with it versus the fuck it. So there's I guess I can okay, yeah, I was listening to a Third Eye it's a podcast called Third Eye Drops. It's fairly psychedelic stuff and very, um, really kind of not highfalutin, but, like, really non-grounded, philosophical, esoteric, panpsychist, philosophy of math, quantum kinda things that I really love hanging out there. Although I had a thought this morning during the sanctuary call that really took me by surprise. I thought, "Oh my god, am I just disassociating when I'm hanging out in the purely analytical?" I was like, "Well, maybe not maybe. The basis of this universe is both and, so I know it's a both and of, yeah, I probably am disassociating from something else that makes me feel squirrely, and I'm perhaps illuminating myself and making some new neural pathways by hanging out in these very, very non-grounded in reality or non-grounded in physical reality in the conceptual world. I guess it's a platonic world, hanging out in the platonic world for lack of somebody else's name being there. Balthazar's world. Is it am I thinking or Balthazar? Baltar, Gaius Baltar's world, whatever. You can call it whoever. But the world a world that is an abstraction. Um, so I've been spending a lot of time there. God, I already lost my train of thought again. I'm so sorry, guys. Ugh. All right, so between spiritually I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, what if I am what if I'm just disassociating and I'm not dealing with something? What if I'm using hanging out in the abstract world as a spiritual bypass or a, uh, disassociation?" And like, well, if I am, then it is what it is, so it doesn't need to be a judgment on it. And perhaps that's a place to really ramp up my creativity that then I can bring back down into the three-dimensional world. I can write an article. I can include some of these things I think about and put it in my work in progress and have my characters articulate some of this stuff. So I don't think it's a waste to be hanging out in the what do we call it? Balthazar's abstract world of abstractions. But back to the uh, seeing maybe what the difference is between doing a spiritual bypass and doing a perception shift is that if you're doing the perception shift, you're giving yourself the opportunity to learn something. If you just bypass it, yeah, if you're just bypassing, hence the term, I guess, you're like, yeah, I see it and I'm over it and I'm not going to learn anything from it. I'm just going to keep going. So it's like, yeah, so you saw it, but you didn't actually do a lot of work around it. But with a perception shift, you can say, okay, I'm doing this, I see it. Like for me, okay, this really practical thing that came to me today from the sanctuary call. There's somebody who works in this greenhouse, right? And she was just saying that she was kind of just almost cry laughing at herself. She's like, I'm gonna go into this environment that is feels like nothing but triggers and it just brings up all these core woundednesses and yet I'm going to still go and give it my best. And I thought and I had to write to her about it. I said, "What I'm hearing is something that I need to take into my workplace because I get so frustrated because I think I'm trying to give you everything I can for you to succeed and you just aren't paying attention." And so then I just want to go, well, just fuck it. And I have perks, so that's enough. And then realizing, actually, no, I am able to be there to learn a whole lot, but also I'm bringing my best for me. It's not for them. They're never going to get the full, I mean, they know how awesome I am, but not really, but I do. So it's really for me. And so to be able to share that perception shift and invite her to look at it through that lens of, I'm giving my best not for them, it's for me because I'm with me and I care about me and I'm precious. And that can be a huge perception shift for a lot of us with core woundednesses that I think have to do with trust or ultimately a fear of belief in reality of like or what's going on around me. I can't actually trust it. So I need to create my own world. And if I've created it, then it's safe. I don't know that I've ever articulated things quite like that, but I think I'm pretty sure that's what mine is if one has a core or something is I can't trust the reality around me, but I'll trust what's in my head, which I guess kind of makes me a solipsist after all, but that I can only know that I am real and nothing else. And uh, I'm not actually a solipsist, I'm a panpsychist, but anyway, so I will just stop with that. I wanted to keep these at about 10 minutes, but I wanted to keep these at 10 minutes. And so that's what I have to share today. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, somebody said a lovely phrase about instead of being pushed by the past into one's future of being pulled forward by like one's higher self or the better life that one that wants to be walking into. And I thought that was a really lovely image. So I'll share that with anybody who might find this. All right. And if you do find it, yay. I hope something in this will provide a perception shift for you that is great for your journey. With that, Satnam, and thanks for being here.